A Grand Bahama reverend and convicted pedophile scored somewhat of a victory before the appeals court today. Convicted of sex with a 9-year-old girl, Albert Wiley may have escaped his original life sentence, but as Fern Carey tells us, he didn't get the outcome he was hoping for either when he challenged a Supreme Court decision.
60-year-old Freeport church elder Albert Wiley, wearing the tan suit, was serving a life sentence after being convicted last year of having unlawful sexual intercourse with a 9-year-old girl. But that all changed when he appeared before the appellate court. That's because Wiley's attorney, Carlson Sherlin, convinced the court that a fixed sentence for a minimum period would be more appropriate. Sherlin questioned whether Wiley's case is the worst of the worst, noting that the church elder's prison term suggests there is no possibility of him being rehabilitated. He also stressed that there is no treatment available locally for pedophiles like Wiley. He then suggested a 14-year prison term for the church elder, saying it would send a message to the government that treatment needs to be made available for sex offenders. However, the prosecutor indicated that while treatment may lessen the danger pedophiles pose to society, it will not remove it. She also noted that Wiley is a repeat offender, and if returned to society, he could likely commit a similar crime. In the end, the court reduced Wiley's life sentence to 30 years. Court President Justice Anita Allen also said, quote, "We owe it to our children to protect them from predators," end quote. She then affirmed the decision of the lower courts for Wiley to receive treatment in prison. Fern Carey, ZNS News.
The Democratic National Alliance plans to share the party's proposals for fighting crime with the government. DNA leader Brandon McCartney said today he plans to present the party's national crime plan to National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nottage. This, as he said, the PLP must stop talking and get working on controlling crime.
The parent or guardian of the offender, of the juvenile, can pay the fine or the cost or the damages done by the juvenile. Let's enforce those laws so we don't hear mothers on the television every night, "My good son." Let's enforce that. Under the Education Act, for instance, sections 24 and 25, you have provisions where there are where the parents are duty bound to ensure that their children get an education.
Now, McCartney recommended the government enforce some current laws, starting with the Child Protection Act.
There are a handful of persons committing the crimes. Handful. There are more good people out there than bad. Now, we can't let these handful of people dictate how we live our lives. So let's get mad. Let's get frustrated. Let's get mad with the criminals.
Welcome to tonight's edition of the Business Beat, sponsored by Royal Fidelity. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altaviz Munnings. Let's take a look at what's making business news today. Commonwealth Bank earned some $1.5 billion plus in assets, record profits, and quarterly common dividends, which increased by 20% to 6 cents per share in 2011. That information was shared to more than 250 Commonwealth Bank shareholders at the bank's recent annual general meeting. Under the theme Success Through Challenge, Executive Chair William Sands Jr. told a crowded room of shareholders that the bank's performance for the financial year ended December 31st, 2011 remained strong, amassing a net income of $51.8 million, representing the second most profitable year in the bank's history. The forum, The Financial Voice, which assembles financial experts from various economic sectors to weigh in on issues impacting the national economy, will take on its 5th annual examination of the 2012-2013 national budget tomorrow at the J. Whitney Pinder Building on Collins Avenue, live on ZNS TV starting at 8 p.m. In international business, European banking stocks have fallen sharply despite the victory of pro-bailout parties in Greece's elections on Sunday. While the New Democracy Party's win raised hopes that the country would stick to austerity measures and stay in the euro, analysts said that much uncertainty remained. Remember, you can send us an email or join us on www.znsbahamas.com or become our friend on ZNS's official Facebook page. And that will end tonight's edition of the Business Beat, sponsored by Royal Fidelity. I'm Altaviz Munnings. Thanks so much for watching.
It's time for today's Doctor's Hospital Health Tip. Blood pressure numbers creeping up, up, up. You might be able to beat them back down with beet juice. Sounds strange? Well, one study found that a serving of beet juice helped lower blood pressure in healthy people. Before you go overboard on beet juice, more research will be needed to confirm those results, but the initial take was promising. Compared with the people in the study who drank water, those who drank a serving of beet juice had a drop in blood pressure just 1 hour later. 24 hours later, systolic blood pressure was still several points lower in the beet juice drinkers than in the water drinkers. Though beet juice may be grand, keep this in mind. Researchers think that the juice's high concentration of nitrates, little compounds found in lots of different fruits and veggies, as well as in processed meat and sometimes in groundwater, may be the reason for the blood pressure benefits. But getting too many nitrates may be a health hazard in itself. The comforting thing about getting nitrates from fruits and veggies is that produce has antioxidants that help keep nitrates in check. So cut back on the processed meats, but don't hold back on produce. Be sure to join us this Thursday at 6 p.m. in the Doctors Hospital Conference Center for the Distinguished Lecture Series. Dr. Rashmi Anwala, a dermatologist, will discuss management of eczema in all ages.